Hello, welcome to Model Kit Stuff and welcome to First Impressions Day. My name is Jason and we're looking at this today. It's the brand new 2024 new tool from Miniart, kit number 48002, a Junkers F13 early production. I think this is the second plane that Miniart have brought out. It's 1:48 scale. And it's from the 1920s, and doesn't it look stunning? So hello everyone, we're going to have a look at this new tool from Miniart. Really nice looking bit of artwork there. So this is an aircraft from the 1930s. You can see it's got this corrugated metal look to it that was used on a number of German aircraft sort of interwar period. And it looks really nice in this black and yellow. Nice bit of artwork. Tells us that we've got one kit in here. They've got 3 decal options, photo-etched included. And as we look around the box, we've got some information in various languages, little warnings, contact information. The ends of the box pretty much the same as what's on the top. And then on this side we see our 3 schemes, and they're basically all luft post, I think. Well, that one's luft post, that one's luft post, this one is something else, not quite sure what that is, but this is 1921, 1922, 1923. I don't know if there's differences between the aircraft on the paint schemes, so whether you have to build it slightly differently, I don't know. I'm sure we'll find that out in a moment. Also tells us that we've got cartograph decals, which is a recent change for Miniart. So yeah, all looks nice. Let's have a look at the box. Well, it's a standard flimsy lid. And then inside we've got a corrugated bottom, which has a folded side, which gives it some space. These were originally on the bottom in the bag, and then you can see we've got one bag with all the parts in. So let's have a look at the instructions. So our instruction manual is A4 colour, stapled. It's quite thin, very thin for a Miniart kit, to be honest. Has the usual layout on the front. Gives us, I always find it strange, and I think I probably comment on this every time I review a Miniart kit, but it's very strange that they tell you all this stuff about what you're getting once you've got it. I do find that a bit odd. Put it on the box. You know, they don't mention on the outside of the box that hatches can be assembled in open or closed position. But anyway, as usual, we will start with paint scheme, and well, I'm absolutely not going to try and pronounce that. So I'll hold it up to the camera. There you go. You can read that and you can decide how you're pronouncing all of that one. So anyway, German Post Service, 1921. It does look nice. Look, I mean, from a top-down view, she's a stunning little aircraft. Quite unusual as well, because you've got this open cockpit. Can you imagine how noisy it is with all that wind getting trapped in there? Very strange. So completely black underneath. Let's have a look at the other ones while we're at it. So this is paint option 3 again. I'll let you read that. So this is a more, I was about to say usual, it's the one that you recognise the most, the silver and black, I think. you'd have seen it in the quite a lot in the 1930s, you know, around the time of the Olympics and what have you. Silver and black was the colour. So yeah, I can see a lot of people might want to plumb for this. And then we've got this green one, which is very different, isn't it? Yeah, I still think the yellow one is my favourite. Anyway, as we turn over the page, we can see we've got our key here along the top in multiple languages, and then we've got our sprue map, which shows that we've got photo etch, clear parts, decals, and then what have we got? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 grey plastic sprues. Okay, there's nothing there telling us that we're not using any of the parts, so I'm assuming that we're using all of them. Okay, and then we're over onto step 1, and we're putting bulkheads in the fuselage side and some glazing. Then we're assembling photo etch onto the steering columns and putting those into the floor pan. We've got photo etch seat harnesses. That's nice, going into the sort of the bucket seats there. And then we've got, what's that part there? I'm trying to see where that ultimately goes. Oh, okay, that's the got all the dials on. Because of its position, it looked like a bit of floor pan, but it's actually the dials. We've got various knobs and switches, and that looks very much like a windscreen wiper motor, but there's no windscreens, so I wonder what that is. And pedals going in, more little photo etch details going in, some tiny details. It's giving us some decal instructions as well, quite a few decal instructions. What colour is it telling us to paint it to? I think that is aluminium off the top of my head. To aluminium, yeah, absolutely. And then 3 is gonna be black, yep. And 8 is yellow. So where is it? That thing there gets painted yellow. Okay. So we built up all these parts, and then we put the fuselage half in, another fuselage half, and more clear parts. And yeah, going into this floor pan here. So a little bit of drilling out to do as well. You could actually do that first. Build that up first, and then it might be easier to build those parts. Might be worth looking at. And we can see in step 9 we're installing the seats and the floor pan into the aircraft. Step 10, we're putting the dials in, forming the bulkhead there with the engine. Step 11, we've got another bulkhead. This one's got windows and curtains going in, which are being painted 10, so that's a red colour. And then we've got more seats, so passenger seats this time. So 3, one of them being a double backed seat, like a sofa type affair, that's going to go on that back bulkhead there. Little handle going on the door. I'm assuming that's the inside. Yeah. So it's giving us colours so we can paint all the inside. More photo etched seat harnesses. So yeah, okay. Then step 15, we're building up the engine. With that funny exhaust. I mean, why they put the exhaust so that it flows straight into the pilot's faces is a bit odd, but anyway, that's what they did. We've got some framework going in, and then the engine being mounted on the framework, radiator being built, painted and installed. Then we've got the another bit of the fuselage half, that's the front end being built up. Step 23, we install that along with the back section, bit more hole drilling to be done. Step 24, we've got the cowling going on top of the engine, so you could always leave that loose if you wanted to be able to look at the engine from time to time. Then we've got an option of putting on tie downs onto the engine cowls there. Okay, that's interesting. I'm not sure what that thing is, but we're installing it there. And inside view, there's some form of lamp being installed into the roof there. That's very nice. Okay. Step 26, we're putting the wing root sections in. Then we've got okay, we can have the wings in transport position. So we've got some wing ends there. Okay, that's interesting. We can have it wings off, that's cool. All sorts of photo etch details going on here, steps and bits and pieces, quite a lot of photo etch. Then we are modifying the wing spar for the transport position, and obviously leaving it on if we're slotting the wings in. Then we're adding flaps, so that's great, they're separate. Then we're building up the wheels, and I'm guessing these are some form of shock absorber, because they look quite chunky. I'm guessing that's what they will be. But building up the wheels, looks like we've got wheel halves, so not separate hubs. Then step 32, we are installing the wings. We've got the mechanisms there for everything to move, and then if we're having the wings not attached, it looks like they don't fold, you just take them off and lay them next to it. So yeah, that'll save you some space. You might want to build a little stand or something to put them on. Yeah, interesting. And then the last thing is putting the propeller on. So yeah, okay, 32 steps, but actually there's some sub-assemblies in there, so a little bit more than that. But that all looks fairly straightforward, doesn't it? Looks like it's going to be fun, this. Right, so that's the instructions done. Let's have a look at the decals. Well, we've got quite a big decal sheet here. We've got all the dials and little switches and things that are decals are all individually done, and they're very nicely done. And then where you've got things like the national markings and stuff, they are they've got some decal film around them. So here, to get the spacing right, you've got a little bit of decal film. You've got decal film on the inside of the fore, which yeah, bearing in mind this is going on corrugated, the more decal film you've got, the more risk of silvering and the more problems you might have. Now the D's here don't have them on the inside, but they do there. So yeah, not sure. Though yeah, that just looks 1920s to me. I just quite like that. I'm fairly sure we're going to do the yellow version. Yeah. Okay. But they are all Caldigraph, so yeah, all good, nice and thin, good colour saturation, no register issues, wouldn't expect there to be, all very nice. Now this is the first time I've had a Miniart kit where the photo etch didn't come in a little cardboard envelope. So that's new. They've included it this time with the clear parts, and I have to say I don't like that idea at all. The envelope always worked well for me, but yeah, maybe trying to reduce costs or something. So our photo etch is covered in film. We've got some relief etching on it, and it's mainly, despite the instructions looking like we were putting lots of photo etching, it's mainly the seat harnesses. And that we saw being built up on the steering columns, and then we've got this which goes over the engine cowls, which I think I'll put on because that just gives it a nice little look. And then we've got these little parts that were being dotted around the aircraft, so not as many as the instructions led me to believe. Right, we will take some photographs and you can see all of those at the end, but we'll move through the parts now. Clear parts now, and they're nicely done. They're nice and clear. I'm not seeing any spidering or any issues. They certainly look better than the ones on their first aircraft. I wouldn't say they were perfect. You can see some texturing in the light, but as soon as you get something behind it, they'll go really clear, so you won't see that. Yeah, no real issues with that. Okay, our first sprue of parts out. This is sprue A, and we've got mainly body parts here, but there's parts for the interior. We can see we've got 4 different propellers, so we know we're going to have lots of variants coming out. That's always Miniart's way. But the first thing that strikes you is everything seems to be nice and crisply moulded. There is a little bit of flash on some of the propellers. If I hold that up there, you'll see in the light flash pretty much on all 4 of them. What is really interesting though, and I'll see if we can get this in the light, so we've got this lovely corrugated texture, and it feels really nice, it looks really good, but can you see in the light, can you see that? There you go. Can you see all the rivets? There's even rivets in the troughs of the corrugation. Absolutely stunning. Really, really nice. Again, there's a little bit of flash on the parts. They've got it, we've got corrugation on the inside. That's where we're going to put that little lamp. So all very nice there. Bulkhead there. These are our wing roots. We've got the steps there for the pilot to get up. I mean, it's so lovely. So really, really nice. We've got some nice texturing on the seats. Oh, this is beautiful. Tail there. And the flaps for it, and I guess that must glue onto there. Yeah, all looks good. Door has rivets, raised rivets on the outside and stitching on the inside. That's really nice. And this is where our dials are going to be, and again, all very nice. The detail is fabulous. Got some slide moulding going here for the exhaust, so your exhaust has an open end, which is also nice. This is the seat cushion for that back seat, again with some texturing on. I think this is the frame that the engine sits on, and there's quite a bit of flash on that. But I'm not seeing any sink or anything like that, so it's just some scraping jobs. A number of small parts. These ones sort of between there and there are all going onto the around the dials. It's all interior controls. That's that external aerial. Some other bits and pieces. Yeah, all very nice. The biggest issue, and it's not really an issue, is some flash. Next sprue is BA, and we've got the two forward sections of the fuselage. Very nicely done. There's no real deforming of the corrugation run over this quite complex curved shape here actually. We've got what I'm guessing is some form of leather padding around the edge of the window there. Yeah, nice details. Raised rivets on the wind screens around the windscreen edges, and if we turn in and have a look inside, we've got detail on the inside there. That's inside of the cabin, all very nice. Engine bay, all very nice. No sink, no distortion. I think the ejector pins are all in hidden areas. So yeah, lovely. Sprue B, quite a long thin sprue. This has got all our wing ends on. So you can see you've got this sort of basic one if you're connecting the wings on, but you've got this really nice structure here. So I'm guessing the wings are going to be open, so you're going to have to paint the inside of the wings and then put this on, but that does look really nice. Quite tempted. I might have one wing on, one wing off, maybe, because it'd be a shame not to model some of that lovely detail. And then we've got our curtain here, and you can see some nice texturing there as well. And these are the wood parts that go on that bulkhead. So yeah, nothing wrong with that. I don't see any moulding issues, just lovely crisp parts. This is sprue BC, and it's engine. All of these are engine parts. So yeah, we've got the manifold there, the block, pistons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and little fittings that go around it, all the pipe work and what have you. All very nicely done. We've also got another slide moulded exhaust. So we must be only using one, but I didn't see any parts to not be used on the sprue map. So that'll be interesting to see which one we use. This one looks a bit longer. So I can imagine that the pilots complained about what would have been very smoky exhaust fumes in the 20s being blown straight into the face, so they extended the exhaust is what I imagine happened. Of course, they could just be making all that up. Sprue D, and we've got the wings plus the flaps to go with them. Yeah, okay. If we are painting the inside with the wings open, we're not going to be painting lots of it. We've got some ejector pin marks to sort as well if we're going to have the wings open. But the texturing is absolutely gorgeous. We've got raised rivets, again raised rivets within the corrugations. It's just an absolute thing of beauty. Let me just zoom you out there. So all really nice. You can feel the rivets. You can see the rivet patterns on there. Yeah, absolutely stunning. Sprue E has our rear halves of the fuselage. Again, just as nicely moulded as the rest. I think that's our sort of rear bulkhead there. It's quite a small passenger compartment. It's a small aircraft really. Yeah, and again, raised rivets, lovely corrugations. It is just really nice. Yeah, raised rivets everywhere. We've got some ejector pins there. I think the seats are gluing against there, so I think they might be hidden. I think if that's back window, and I think that's back bulkhead and seat, so I think we might not see those, but yeah, isn't it lovely? Sprue EA, and this is centered around radiators and cowlings. We've got two upper cowlings, and I've got to be honest, I don't immediately see what the differences are. Oh, the difference is there's no rail on the inside. Alright, and there's a raised rail on the outside of this one. So the rail seems to be inside on that one and outside on that one. Okay, interesting. Now we've got the radiator there, which is nicely done with a front and back piece, and a bit more fuselage piece, I think. A little bit of flash on it, but otherwise beautiful, crisp, and very, very detailed. Right, okay, Sprue G, this is our underside of the fuselage. Again, really nice texturing and detail. We've got raised rivets along this edge, so let's hope we don't have any filling and sanding to do there, because we'll be losing them. When we look on the inside, we've got some detailing here on this front bit, so that'll be the floor pan for the... no, it won't be. It won't be. I think that'll be where the engine bay is, I think. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, it is lovely, like the rest of the kit is. Sprue H, and we have two of these. We've got the wing spar there, and I guess that's the end of the wing that the spar goes into. Then we've got some little plastic details, which go on the outside of the aircraft, and the seats, the bucket seats, which we've got two of, and yeah, there's some nice seat detail on, cushion detail on one of them, like a bit of sink where the pilots have sat, and not so much on this one. Not quite sure what that is. Got door handles there. And the steering wheel looks really nice as well. There's no figures with this kit, so finding some 1920s figures, I guess these guys would have been in uniform, so hopefully Miniart will bring some figures out for it. But yeah, nothing wrong with those. And finally, Sprue HA, and again we have two of these, and it's all parts to do with the wheels. I'm fairly sure this must be some rudimentary suspension, you know, gas filled or something like that. Don't know. Again, raised rivets on the outside. The sprue gates are moulded onto the mating surfaces, so there's no cleanup of the visible surfaces. So that's really lovely. We've got a separate hub cap which goes onto there. I don't know whether these were spoked wheels or not, but there's no witness of spoking on there. But there is some raised fastener detail on there. Yeah. And then we've got two halves of the tyre. So, not quite sure what's going on there. You've got wheels inner and outer, and then we've got what I could only call a spare tyre. So, don't know. But that's it for the plastic parts. So you can now have a look at some of the photographs up close, and then we'll sum up. Well, there you have it. Miniart's 1 to 48 scale Junkers F13 early production version. What's my first impressions? Well, it's just lovely, isn't it? And unlike the first aircraft they released, where I ended up selling that kit and deciding not to build it because of the issues with the canopy, we don't have any issues with this. So let's start with the packaging. Packaging is the usual Miniart affair. It's got everything sort of heat sealed in one bag, and the box is a bit flimsy, so be careful if you want to stash it. There's already stress marks on it. And the parts can move around in the box, so packaging's all right, but it's not brilliant. Then we've got the instructions. They're nice. They're a little bit busy because the sub-assemblies aren't really sort of broken down and spaced out like you'd get on an Airfix instructions, for example. So they do need a little bit of looking at. In the main, the build sequence seemed sensible, although I do wonder if when you're putting the bulkheads in this bit here, you might as well be putting it on the floor pan. It's what you're going to do eventually anyway, so that seems to make sense to me, but we'll have to see it when we come to build it. So yeah, no real issues with the instructions. You've got paint instructions throughout the build to make life nice and easy for you. So no real issues in terms of the instructions. Decals being cartograph are going to be good. A little bit more decal film than you'd like on some of them, but nothing you can't get around. And when you look at this paint scheme, for example, you're painting the black, the yellow, and also the red, and then you've got decals for the rest of it. So quite a few decals, really. We'll come back to painting, I think, in a moment. Then in terms of the parts, photo etch, nicely done, some nice relief etching on it. I was a little bit surprised to see them not in a cardboard envelope, but in a plastic bag. But there you go. But yeah, the clear parts, they were okay. I've seen better, but they at least were clear. There was no inclusions in them. There was no spidering. Once they're installed, they'll look fab. But they have Miniart's clear parts are never the best, sort of a bit of fogginess in places and a bit of distortion in the light. So it's one area that Miniart definitely needs to try and improve on, and I'm sure they know that. And then plastic parts, absolutely exquisite. Absolutely exquisite. I can't think of anyone else who would have gone to the trouble of putting all the little raised rivets in between all these corrugated lines. I mean, just stunning. And I did check, so where you got rivet lines on the outside, you actually did have a rib on the inside, so it was all perfectly aligned. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I have no issues with the plastic parts. You've got a little bit of flash to deal with in places, but yeah, all very, very nice. I think that's one of the nicest aeroplane kits I've ever reviewed in terms of plastic parts. So yeah, lovely. Then yeah, I don't really see any issues with the kit. Now then, let's talk about the painting. That is going to be the most difficult thing about this build. I'm sure there'll be no problems with the plastic parts coming together. However, look at the paint scheme. You've got to paint a curve on a corrugated surface. Not for the faint-hearted, I can assure you. I've done it before, and the only way I could do it was to do it by hand in enamels. So that's probably what I'll do. So masking it, very, very difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible, but your risk of bleed on such an uneven surface is extremely high. And you can't do something like blue tack or magic putty because you want a sharp edge. So what I think I will be doing is spraying it all yellow, then painting it all in the black. So we can mask it off and what have you to get a straight edge. Draw that straight edge on and then paint it with a brush. If you do it in Junkers F13, for example, in black enamels, it will look fine. It will absolutely look fine. You wouldn't know it wasn't sprayed on. But the yellow, definitely, you want to spray that on. Yeah, so quite challenging. Also, how do you paint this with this open canopy? Are you filling it with a bit of packing foam and painting that first and then padding it out? So masking that bit will be tricky. Otherwise, I think it's going to be quite straightforward and quite a fun build. And I am going to build this very, very soon. In fact, it will be, as I record this, which is early November 2024 as the kit's being released, I plan to build this as my next build. So possibly as we go into December, we will start this. So yeah, a really, really nice kit. Looking forward to building it. Really interesting subject matter. Great to see something totally different rather than another Spitfire or Hurricane. So yeah, absolutely. Miniart, bravo. More of this sort of stuff because it's stunning and I can't wait to build it. So there you go, there's my view. If you were wondering about this, you now know what you get in the box. It's an absolutely beautiful kit. So 10 out of 10 for me. Thanks very much for looking in. Until I see you next time, you enjoy your modelling. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. It's free, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can hit my PayPal link in the text below. Every pound goes straight into the channel to keep the cameras rolling and to do more fun stuff for you to watch.